Good morning, guys, and happy Tuesday. We are entering our review section for the year. We are going to start by reviewing time because time has consistently been really challenging for us. Now, I know the very first thing that somebody is going to say is, I can't see those tick marks. You're going to need to hit zoom because when you hit zoom, you can see them. Remember to zoom on Seesaw, you go to the magnifying glass in the top left and you need to click into it. If the magnifying glass isn't loading, try opening it up in Google Chrome or another internet browser instead of directly inside Teams. So it says plot a point on the number line for the times shown on the clocks. Then draw a line to match the clocks to the points. So I'm going to start out by taking a look at my first clock. I can see that the hour is 7 something. I see it's a little past 7:15, but I need to zoom to see what it is. I'm going to move this a little bit. All right. I think we can, if you need to zoom it more, go for it. I'm going to go and draw a line to where it points up to, and I'm going to say that that is 7:17. So I am going to find 7:17 on my number line. Now I notice they're going by tens, but I see in between here are the fives. They're the long tick mark that's in the middle. And in between the fives and the tens, those are going to be your ones. So I'm going to go and I'm going to label all of my fives. And after I've done that, it's going to be a lot easier to see what's happening. So I said 7:17, here's 7:16, here's 7:17, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to draw my line. So we found a match. All right, this one is easy because it's already given to us in digital time. It's 7:03. So here I can either count up from 0 and go 1, 2, 3, or I could count back from 5 and go 4, 3. So I'm going to connect my line. These lessons might feel a little easy for some people. They might feel very challenging for other people, simply because it's been a while since we've done this. That's why we're coming back to it. We have to go back and make sure we haven't forgotten any of the skills that we haven't worked on in a minute. All right, I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to zoom in on my clock. This seems to be exactly on the 11 as far as I can tell, because when I go to line up the point, it's lined up with the tick mark that is in the middle of the 11. Zoom it in as big as you need to in order for you to look at where the point lines up with those tick marks. All right, so we said, we found our minutes. We said they're 55. Let's take a minute to talk about the hour hand because this is where I'm still seeing quite a few errors. So this hour hand is almost, but not quite on the 8. That means it is not 8:55. It is not quite perfectly lined up with the 8. It is between the 7 and the 8, and when the hands are between two numbers, we always choose the smaller one, with the exception of it being between 12 and 1. This time is 7:55. It is not 8:55. 7:55 is almost 8 o'clock, and that's what our clock is showing us. If it was 8:55, it would be almost 9 o'clock. Our clock is not showing us almost 9 o'clock. You always have to think, what is this close to? All right, I'm going to take a look at my next clock. So here it's between the 7 and the 8. So again, I choose the smaller hour. And now I'm going to look at my minutes. This is 40. This is 41. I'm going to zoom it. I'm pretty sure it's 41, but I want to double check to make sure it's not 42. I'm going to say that's 7:41. Remember, when we are dealing with these tick marks, the most important thing is to look carefully. What I have noticed is many of us have a habit of saying, oh, I think it's this, and we're not looking carefully. We're not drawing lines and checking the hands. And that's where our greatest mistakes are going to come in. Please make sure you're doing all of those things. If you have a question about the tick marks, if you've read one differently, please leave me a comment in our class page and we'll go over this together, okay? All right, let's look at our next set of clocks. It says Jesse woke up this morning at 6:48 a.m. Always draw the minute hand before you draw the hour because the minute hand shows you whether it's on the hour or almost at the next one. So 48, I know this is 45 because remember 1 times 5, 5 minutes, 2 times 5, 10 minutes, 5, 10, 15. So 45, 46, 47, 48. So I just left myself a little mark there so that I won't get off. Drawing the clock hands on the computer is going to be a little challenging. Do the best you can with it. I know that it's not easy to draw on the computer. You guys see all the strange things that happen to me every day when I try it. Remember, if you get too frustrated, you can always print it out and just send me a picture of your work. All right, so I found my minutes. Now I'm going to do my hour hand. If you make your time look like that, where it's like right on the 6, you are wrong. And here's why. 6:48 is almost 7 o'clock, but it's not quite there. Your hour hand should be getting close to the 7, but not quite being there. Now my hour hand is a little bit very short. I'm going to extend it just a little bit. And I've gone and I've put my arrows at the end. So I should be almost but not quite touching the 7. Again, because we're doing this on a computer, it's going to be a little more challenging than if we were doing it on paper. Take your time, print it out if you need to. All right, Mrs. Barnes starts teaching math at 8:23. All right, here's 20, 21, 22, 23. See how I'm putting that little dot there just so that I don't lose my spot? You may absolutely do that because I'm going and I'm erasing it once I've done it. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right, 8:23. 23 is not very close to another hour, so my hour hand is going to be pretty much on that 8 still. It's not going to be moving any place yet. And here we have 8:23. Now I notice my hour hand is a little long. I'm going to redraw that, make it a little shorter so it's easier to see. Try and keep your hands one long, one short. Again, I know it's computer, guys. We're doing our bests here. All right, the clock shows what time Rebecca finishes her homework. What time does she finish her homework? All right, let's find our hour hand. So our hour hand and our minute hand are almost lining up. Our hour hand is between the 5 and the 6. So when it's between two numbers, we always choose the smaller number, which means this is going to be 5 something. Remember, the only exception to that rule is when it's between the 12 and the 1. I'm going to redo my dots because they ended up being a little big. There we go. All right. And this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27. She finishes her homework at 5:27. The clock below shows what time Mason's mom drops him off for practice. All right, we have a part A and a part B. Let's look at part A. It says, what time does Mason's mom drop him off? So I see that my minute hand is at 56, which means that I'm almost at the start of a new hour. So what I have to decide is this 3:56 or 4:56. If it's 3:56, our hour hand should almost be at 4 o'clock. If it's 4:56, our hour hand would almost be at 5 o'clock. when you are at this part of the clock, this is where I see our most mistakes, and you have to think, am I almost at 4 o'clock or am I almost at 5? 3:56 is almost 4 o'clock, so that is our answer, 3:56, not 4:56. It says Mason's coach arrived 11 minutes before Mason. What time did Mason's coach arrive? So some of us are totally fine with doing this in our heads. What I'm still seeing are a lot of errors when we go and we work on our timelines, especially when it comes to regrouping. Please don't try to regroup time. You will get to a point where you can do that in your heads, but right now I'm still seeing a lot of errors. So I'm going to show this with a number line, and I'm going to jump back 10 minutes. So 10 minutes before, 56 minus 10, so we're at 3:46. And then I'm going to jump back 1 more minute. So 46 minus 1, he got there at 3:45. Again, I'm just going to take a moment to point out some of our new tabs. I'm going to open up my teams. So here I am. Ooh, let me see if I can make this bigger. Hang on. All right, it does not want to let me make it bigger, so I'm just going to emphasize this side of the screen. So here we have our general tab, our chat channel. Here's our old module. It's module 7. Here's our review module. This is where our new stuff is going to be. I'm sorry, I don't know why it won't let me make my screen big without starting a new video. So up here at the top, we see review module, posts, files, notes, and I have a couple of games for rounding practice. I also have a link for Legends of Learning because I'll be assigning us some extra practice with time and rounding and fractions on Legends of Learning.